That is what Twitter is. I assume you all know you sign up for this account and you post these little 140-character messages to anyone who will listen. I got onto Twitter late, but then I was fooling around with it. I'm like, going to San Diego, and this guy wrote back and said, oh, you should come to my business. I run a hot air balloon company in San Diego. We should take you for a ride. And there we are. Those are my kids, and that's our balloon, and that's the guy. And normally you pay a lot of money for those balloon rides. And I did. But it was worth every penny. The real moment, though, was I was at a talk just like this one in the early days of Twitter, and I wanted to show how it works, right? It's real-time, two-way, interactive with people who are specifically interested in what you have to say. There's no other medium like that. Let me show you. And so I typed into Twitter, I have hiccups, what's your favorite cure? And I got the usual folk remedies, but also people started writing back these funny things, like, simple, just hold your breath till Windows 7. Check your 401k, that'll scare the hiccups right out of you. And then I like this one. I take large sips of bourbon. It doesn't stop the hiccups, but I stop hearing. And at that point, I realized what studies have subsequently shown, which is that Twitter is a completely different internet crowd. Trust me, it's not the same English as a second language 12-year-olds on YouTube comments going, well, you're a tard. This is a completely different group. They're literate, they're funny. The average age is 35 on Twitter. This is a completely different group, and so much more literate and funny. So I had this idea, let's ask them a question like the hiccup thing every night, and then publish the funniest answers in a book. So that's, it tanked, but it's the greatest book ever. And if people walk in the bookstore and like, ugh, it's one of them technology things, and they didn't get what it is. It's essentially a joke book. It's so funny. Like I said, invent a Chinese proverb that sounds authentic, and people would write back like, a pig with a cold still makes good bacon. Or like, I love this. The pit is always smaller than the plum. It's true. It's true. And you can use these. I was with my kids at an amusement park, and they're like, it's hot, I'm sweaty, I'm thirsty, let's go home. And I'm, hey. The pit is always smaller than the plum. And they're just like, shut them right up. It is dangerous to leave a chasm in 2 bounds. Think about it. The best was this one. I challenged them to make up a prequel for a famous movie, and they were like, Mr. Smith, MapQuest, Washington. There goes Private Ryan. I hope he'll be okay. The best. I mean, I wake up laughing in the middle of the night. We're running low on Mohicans. I spoke at a government tech conference 3 weeks ago, and this is my favorite. I just die laughing when I think about this. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, I was deeply offended by your slide about the Mohicans. Come on, dude, it's a joke. He goes, not to me. And it was like, chief running sky, manager of the Mohican Tribal Council. Forgive me. All right, so the next generation really is so different. This isn't like the gradual shift from one generation to the next. This is a big shift, a sudden shift. There, who does voicemail anymore, who does email anymore, who has home phones anymore, who reads newspapers anymore. Great, it's not like I care. There's some good openings at the TSA. Who watches a TV set anymore, right? Who watches TV on a TV anymore? Who does one thing at a time anymore? Who does professional reviews anymore? No, they go to Yelp to find out what the good restaurant is. They go to IMDb to find out what the good movies are. They go to CNET to find out what technology to buy. No one reads one guy's opinion anymore. Who uses dental floss anymore? I made that up. But you see where we're going. It's just they keep changing. And there are things we have to take to teach them before it gets off the rails. We have to teach permanence, that once something's online, it's there forever. This is Representative Mark Foley from Florida, who had a gay sex chat with a 17-year-old intern, not knowing that chat room transcripts can be saved and published. This one was, and his life is over. His career is over anyway. We have to teach credibility. For a year, I do a talk about future tech. And for a year, I showed this picture. It's a 1954 artist rendition of the home computer of the future. 50 years hence. This is what the 2004 computer, I don't know if you can read the bottom, but it's hilarious. It says, with the teletype interface and the Fortran language, the computer will be easy to use. Wow. And then, like, what's with the steering wheel? Is this like cursor control module or something? Like, what the? And so I did this talk for a year, and after the talk, one of the talks, a guy comes up and goes, I love that 50 years hence home computer picture too, but you should have disclosed to your audience that it's a hoax. What? I didn't know it's a hoax. He goes, oh yeah, it's on Snopes.com. It's actually a photo of a current exhibit at the Smithsonian of a nuclear submarine cockpit. It's a Photoshop job. And you, of all people, fell for it. So of course I should have checked this out on Snopes.com, the internet clearinghouse for rumors and myths. So anyway, so there's a lot going on in this world. It is exhausting to keep up as adults. Anything you buy today, I'm telling you now, will be no longer marketed in 6 months. You should just get used to that. Young people adopt technology more quickly and more readily than we do. That's just the way it works, and it's always been that way, by the way. I hear all this tut-tutting, oh, kids today, they don't have any social skills. They don't do face-to-face anymore. It's terrible what's happening. Nobody reads newspapers anymore. And I'm like, you know what, dude, spare me. I've heard, this happens every generation. I'm sure the cavemen were like, wheel? You invented the wheel? Why can't you walk to the woolly mammoth skeleton like I did? It's like, from time immemorial, your music is not music, my music was, and then the next generation said the same thing. So there's a lot going on, there's a lot of change, but there's always been change. Please remember, on the other hand, the pit is always falling. Thanks very much.